Gentleman yields. Now recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. D'Esposito, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sergeant Major Brooks, at the time you were the most senior non-commissioned officer in the organization. Can you share briefly what was happening at the D.C. Armory between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. on January 6th?
Immediately upon receiving the 149 call from Chief Sun, we, the D.C. National Guard, on our own accord, initiated movement from the QRF, from Air Force, Andrews Air Force Base to the Armory, so they were there. We were then taking the soldiers that were coming in for the second shift that were already at the Armory. We had geared them, fully kitted them with riot control gear. We had moved our transportation onto the Armory drill floor so that not to arouse any public awareness of what was actually going on, and they were loaded and standing by, ready to go. They had been divided up into civil disturbance platoons, roughly 40 to 45 people per platoon with appropriate leadership, which coincidentally matches the MPD force structure for civil disturbance as well, because as we've stated previously, we train with them, so we wanted to be as close to their force package as possible.
Right, you train with them to do the work that you're prepared to do, which is exactly the opposite of what so-called leadership was telling you your mission was.
Yes, but I think they like to say this untrained, and they point to us conducting him training, and some soldiers or airmen may have had their first experience of training. The Army and Air Force get brand new privates and airmen every day. They are assimilated into the formation and trained and trust that their leaderships have their best interest and would not put them in a situation that they were not prepared for. Right. I believe that our leadership, all the way down the chain, prepared our soldiers and airmen as best as possible to perform the mission that they were given.
So on January 6th, between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., they were trained, they were prepared, and they were ready to respond?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Brigadier General Dean, according to his testimony to the DOD, Secretary McCarthy told to General Walker to, quote, posture his troops and, quote, get ready to go on the 2:30 call. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate. Okay. There was no mention. Well, first of all, Secretary McCarthy wasn't even on the call. I'll say this. He wasn't identified on the call, nor did he speak on the call.
Understood. Colonel Matthews.
Yes, sir.
If I leave anything out here, please correct me. You were acting general counsel to the Army.
Yes, sir.
You were principal deputy general counsel.
Correct.
You were deputy ledge counsel to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Deputy legal counsel. Yes, sir.
Okay. You were special counsel to the director of national intelligence.
Was.
You served this country faithfully in combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan.
I did, sir.
You're a Nova grad.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you're a Harvard Law grad.
Don't hold it against me.
Pretty well accomplished. Let me ask you a question. You have 1 minute and 40 seconds, sir.
Yes, sir.
You were in charge on January 6th. Tell me your plan and what you would have done differently.
In charge of the D.C. Guard, the Army, the what, or what?
You could have made any decision necessary in order to keep this place safe.
I would have picked up the phone and told the D.C. Guard to deploy to the Capitol immediately, and I would have told General Walker to have everyone in the building kitted up in riot gear and get down to support Capitol Police. And I will say this, sir. At 3:04, Secretary Miller did give the Army authorization to go to the Hill. That was not conveyed to General Walker. So that authorization had been given. Secretary Miller had all the authority he needed. He didn't need to hear from the president. The president had given him the authority he needed to act. I would argue he had that authority even without talking to the president based on the executive order. So I mean, I think that there was a bottleneck, and it wasn't at the D.C. Guard level, and it wasn't at the OSD level, in my opinion.
Well, I guess, again, the goal here today was to make sure that we are better prepared next time. Brigadier, I'm sorry, Brigadier General, you have one?
So, yeah, can I answer that just real quick? So, to me, what I would have done if I was in a position over at the Pentagon, I would have, or if I was the secretary, I would have given General Walker more latitude. I wouldn't have written a memo so constraining that it would take one person to, mobilize the D.C. National Guard.
Well, that was clearly done by design.
Right. And secondly, what I would have done, I would have given him the authorization to deploy if there was a threat to life or limb. And then I would have said, when you get there, then give me a call and we'll discuss how the DC National Guard is actually going to be deployed.
Got it.
And
Well,
that's the con-op.
My time's expired. I want to thank you all for your service to this great country. And thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman yields.